Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Zach, and here we talk about overlanding in tech. And today is maybe going to be a bit of an obvious video, but I really think it's important. First, before we jump into that though, I just want to remind you that the giveaway is still live, and we're giving away a portable air compressor and a set of traction boards. So if you're interested in any of those items, go check out my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and go comment on that giveaway post so you can get entered to win one of those items. Additionally, I really want to thank my Patreons because it really means a lot that they are willing to support me in an additional way above and beyond just liking and subscribing to the video, which reminds me, please subscribe to the channel and smash that like button because that really helps this channel grow and helps me to make more content like this and just provide additional videos and tips and tricks and various installs that might help you out in your build. So all I ask is a simple like and subscribe. So let's jump right into the video. Basically today what we're going to be talking about is Raptor lights for the 4Runner grill. And this can pretty easily translate to different vehicles, but today I'm going to be using my 4Runner as the install example. And a lot of people like these marker headlights up in the front of their grill, and I think they really add. I think they make the front of the 4Runner look more aggressive and mean. And they're a very affordable modification you can do that really changes the look of the front of the 4Runner. So today we're going to be looking at the Cali raised LED marker lights or Raptor lights. These are the highest quality lights that I've seen from a reputable company that also are marked at a good price. There's a couple others that sell slightly more expensive ones. Maybe they're higher quality, but I cannot talk about that because I haven't tested all of these different lights for a certain period of time. Then you can also get really cheap versions on Amazon and other companies. I used to have a set from Car Trim Home, which honestly were pitiful. They started malfunctioning within months of installing them, and I've tried to contact their customer service and they haven't responded. So that's been a really frustrating process, and I just decided to break down and buy what I think is probably a higher quality product. So we're going to be installing these Cali raised LED versions of the Raptor lights for the 4Runner, 5th gen 4Runner. And if you're really concerned, also I could recommend that you put a new silicone sealant on these so that they are more waterproof or water resistant, but that's totally up to you. Regardless, let's jump right into the video. I'm going to show you what came in the box, how we're going to set this up, and how we're going to actually wire it into the 4Runner. So let's jump right into that. Okay, to just do a little unboxing of this Raptor light set. My current ones really aren't that great, and so I just wanted to show what came in this box and some of the stuff you might have to buy extra so that you can install this properly. But basically, all of these lights come packaged in this packaging, and looks like they include a couple zip ties just for cable management. And then these screws are what you use to tighten down these back plates. So basically the grill has pre-designed like cutouts in its geometry where these will fit in nice, and I believe these little tabs even help to clip it right into place and center it within the gap, and then you just pull this backing up to it and put in the two screws. So it's pretty straightforward. And then each one of these lights has a plug, and this tab helps you to line it up with one of these basically male connectors. So this rubber part here is to help waterproof your connection. And then obviously this tab you can just lift off and unplug them anytime you're going to remove the front grill. So there's 3 Raptor lights that came with my kit. I think you can buy 4 light kits as well, but I think the 3 light kits look much cooler. And then this is the other part that comes in the kit itself. You have basically an Adeline fuse in this kit. So you have the 3 plugins, and then there's a fuse and a ground wire that basically run to some spot on your frame and then on your battery. And I don't know why it comes set up like this, because this basically means your Raptor lights are always on, and this is just to help with surges. Let's see if we can remove this cap. Yeah, so it's just an add a fuse. Basically though, we're going to clip this because we want to add this into the fuse box under the hood. So before we go out and actually do the install under the hood of the truck, I just wanted to show you how I'm gonna add this fuse. So basically, you can buy these add a fuse kits on Amazon or eBay or wherever you like. They're really cheap and you can get a bunch of them. I bought a big pack of these when I did my previous install on my Raptor lights from Car Trim Home, and they didn't last very long, so we're already gonna be replacing them. So one thing I am a little worried about is this wire is really small and this one's a little bit larger. So if this doesn't stay in this housing very well, we might need to try and see if we can squeeze it down to a smaller connector. I have this little connector kit that's just kind of handy, and then also maybe extra fuses might be helpful. They're all really cheap to buy, like little multi-kits on Amazon. Let's just try and clip this off like this. Okay. And then this is definitely a bigger wire, so let's expose more of it like that. Twist this down some. I still think this will fit inside there. Yep, it will. Okay, so this, you may or may not need to do this for yours because you might have the correct size add a fuse. Another nice way to do this would be to just solder it, but I don't have that set up. Okay, that's holding pretty well. So we're gonna hit this with heat, exposed and fold it over so it's a lot thicker. We're gonna thread that in, pinch it closed. Feels like it's solidified. Just to make this a little bit more secure, I'm gonna put a big piece of tape around this end because I don't want this wire to pull out of that little socket thing, and I have no faith in it. So we'll basically just plug this into the fuse slot that is currently being used in the fuse box under the hood. And so Cali LED, they basically recommend you use the IFE-2. So let's go do that now. Okay, so here's the deal. Basically, what they recommend you do is there is 3 10 amp fuses right here in a row. And then the one right after that is a 7.5 amp fuse. And that's called the IFE number 2 fuse, okay? So if you're buying these lights and this is the only light modification you've done, it's gonna plug into that 7.5 amp fuse, right? However, I have these Alpha Rex headlights with running DRLs, and they're on the moment I turn on the vehicle, okay? And so this is blocking that port. So I went and tested a bunch of these, and I can't seem to find one that is triggered by turning on the vehicle, okay? So what I did as a temporary solution is I took my old Raptor light cable, which is plugged in under the dash, and then I grabbed the positive terminal and paired it in to this wire, okay? And I'm gonna put some electrical tape around this to hold everything in place, and this is just kind of my temporary solution. Another option I think you could do is you could tap into this wire, because if I understand the electrical correctly, this is basically a signaling wire for the power. So on the Alpha Rex headlights, they have their own positive and their own negative. So they have their own positive and their own negative, and I think this is basically just a trip wire to turn on that power. So I don't really think this is really using a lot of power, in which case we could probably tap into it and we're not going to use too much current from that source. However, I don't really want to cut into this because I don't know what's going to happen, and it's really nicely laid in there from installing my headlights. So I think I'm just going to leave it, use this cable for now, and if it breaks I'll do something better. But yeah, this is kind of unfortunate since there's 2 different fuse spots, but the add a fuses get in the way of each other. So just to give a little bit of a perspective as to where that add a fuse is under my dash, this is a port that a lot of people use. I think it's the ACC port. I did this install on an old Raptor set, and basically what they did is you put a fuse in there, and then right on that back screw is where the negative screws in, So that's why up front, this negative is basically pointless. But I figured I would just leave the cable all ran the way that it was. So basically I've come to just accept the fact that my wiring is gonna be awful. But basically if we look at the front grille here, I've got one already put in there, and then there's a spot right here and a spot right here. These were where my old grill lights were, that's why it's a little bit dirty. But basically, we've ran our wire, right? And we wired it up to the cable that went through my firewall. That's the wire right there. I ran it up through here, connected my black end there to ground it, ran the wires down through here, laid it next to my Alpha Rex lights. In here, I dropped the cable down around this plastic, but you can do what you like. There's a rubber grommet right there that a bunch of cables go through as well. And my wiring looks so bad at this point, I've kind of learned to accept it, but basically here's your 3 plugs, and I'm just gonna lay this in here and zip it down. And yes, I know it's gonna be cringy, and yes, I know it looks awful, but hopefully someday I can just come back and clean it all up when I have less things to do. So now I'm going to attach all of the lights, and basically this is what I was talking about, where you have this panel, slides right up there, and then you just put in a screw on either side. So we're gonna do that now. I hope that video was helpful. I really think that even just learning how to install Raptor lights is a nice first step in kind of beginner modifications to your vehicle. I know a lot of people even cringe at the idea of Raptor lights being a modification because it doesn't really alter your performance at all, but for lack of a better term and for people understanding what you mean, I think it's a good way to refer to it. And I really like the Raptor lights. I think it's just one of the first things you can do to the vehicle to make it look even cooler than it already is. So I'm really stoked for these. I think they look really good, and I can't wait to, help any of you out who are just trying to, maybe get started with a modification. So thank you so much for watching. If this video brought you any sort of value, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel to see more content like this, where I talk about different overlanding mods, my trips, and even some of the tech that I'm interested in. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.